bollocks. Fucking bollocks, alright? They've used this as the fucking Trojan horse. And more things are going to start happening, and it's going to be us that fucking suffer because they want more control, more power, and they want to just fucking control whatever the fuck you do. Do not comply with this. You see, if you do, you're a fucking minge.
First of all, nobody asked for this. Nobody asked for this. With a variety of things going wrong within broken Britain, any form of heightened digital surveillance is not going to make anything better. It's not going to be some sort of miraculous fix.
Digital ID is coming to the UK and it's worse than you think. According to Labour, Together's Brick Card proposal, every legal resident in the UK would be required to have a mandatory digital ID, no opt-out. It wouldn't just be for proving who you are, you need it to work, rent a flat, claim benefits, open a bank account, or even access certain public services.
I'll tell you what I think it's an absolute disgrace. This concept that this is to stop illegal migration, that is a lie. That is just the latest low-hanging fruit excuse that they've come up with to try and get people to buy into this because they know the public sentiment is against illegal migration. People want it controlled, so what they're bargaining on and gambling on is there's such a fury about illegal migration that this might finally be the thing that allows us to get this over the line. They've tried to get this over the line now.
Sir, at best, it's a vote-winning PR stunt. At worst, it's another step on the road to totalitarianism. Resist.
Your phone may become a form of ID under new laws. Here's what could happen. The Brick Card will be a mandatory digital ID card system. Using a smartphone app, employers and landlords will be able to check someone's immigration status. But the Labour Party has been on a journey when it comes to this policy. Under Tony Blair, Labour tried to implement ID cards unsuccessfully because of concerns around privacy. Civil liberties campaigners believe that ID cards, whether digital or physical, will fundamentally change the relationship between the population and the state and will turn the UK into a checkpoint society. And more recently, in July 2024, the then Home Secretary Yvette Cooper insisted that this was not Labour's approach and it was not in their manifesto. But Keir Starmer has had a change of heart. 14 months into a Labour government, and small boats crossings are at a record high. The government believes that digital ID cards will be an effective way of curbing illegal working and reducing the pull factors for illegal migration. But this trade-off between freedom and security has already angered several political parties and perhaps many voters too.
Well, you guys, they did it. They successfully created a gigantic problem, and now they're giving you a free solution to it. After the UK has relaxed its immigration laws and allowed so many people to flood into their country, now Keir Starmer, British Prime Minister, has announced that all UK citizens will be required to have a digital ID to have the right to work in the UK.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work.
Everyone who wants to work in the United Kingdom or have any kind of social services will be required to have a digital ID proving who they are attached to their face. And this in no way, shape, or form means that it's going to increase or escalate into a surveillance state where your identity is tracked wherever you go and your financial services could be cut off for any reason. That's not what this is, you guys. This is just a free digital ID guaranteeing that you are a citizen of the United Kingdom and that you have the right to work. So I wonder what the thousands of migrants that don't have any documentation, I wonder what they're going to do now. Seems like they could have avoided this in the beginning by not allowing people to flood into the country and proper immigration practices from the beginning, instead of having to fix a problem way after you've already let it go on for so long. But God bless.
So as you know, digital ID, and I've been watching things and people say this is a good idea, we've already got this. Digital ID is fine, you know, we've got the driving license, they compared it to a driving license, right? They're saying this is a good thing, this is good for us, this is what I'm seeing, this is the spin that I'm seeing now on the media playing out after this announcement. Okay, so let me spin some shit to you then. So we get this digital ID and it's fantastic, right? So this tells you, what's your name, Matt? You got any idea? Yes, hey, look, it's me, yeah, anything, yeah, there you go. However, they're not mentioning this though, are they? This is the stuff that I'm going to fucking mention. Mandatory use for all essential services, food, healthcare, banking, voting, travel. People might think it's a good idea, people think it's wrong. That's not the best idea. Centralised biometric database, fingerprints, face, iris. linked to your ID, cross-agency and corporate data sharing without limits, built-in real-time location tracking and logs of every use. They'll be able to track your every location using this digital ID. Automated flags, blacklists, then restrict access with no human review. Ability to remotely revoke or deactivate your ID at any time. Surveillance exemptions. Security and police can access without warrants. A permanent universal identifier used everywhere. Weak security or outsourced storage that makes all data hackable. No opt-out, no alternatives. ID is mandatory to live in society. Slowly, and that's just a small list, there'll be many more things to be added to it. It will slowly wipe away our rights. We won't feel like we have access or we're in control of anything. We'll be like we have parents looking after us. Do not consent to this. Don't be fucking stupid. Please. Don't. I won't be consenting to this.
If you think digital ID is a good idea, you need to give your head a very good wobble and examine yourself, because this is nothing more than another control mechanism by a two-tier Keir Starmer. You're telling me I have a passport, a driver's license, a national insurance number, I have an NHS number, you name it, I've got it all. But you're telling me that some kind of digital ID is going to stop the boats. Here's a question for you Labour lovers. How did Donald Trump and Tom Homan over there in America stop the illegal immigration into America without digital ID? Somebody let me know. Because Donald and Tom are chartering planes like there's no planes left. And you're telling me this is about channel crossings. Give me a break. Now, it hasn't been confirmed how this will be implemented, but let's assume that it's going to be on your phone, right? Let's assume. You're telling me you're going to give this mob in number 10 access, full access to your phone with your WhatsApps, your bank information, all your personal details. You're going to put that, you're telling me that is about illegal immigration. Come on. My followers already know the deal because you guys are smart. We all know it's all about control, but there's people out here who believe this is a good idea. This must be fought and resisted at every opportunity. Now it makes sense why Starmer never wanted to stop any boats. It was all about implementing his crazy globalist ideas. Stop this madness now.
I'll tell you what I think. I think it's an absolute disgrace. This concept that this is to stop illegal migration, that is a lie. That is just the latest low-hanging fruit excuse that they've come up with to try and get people to buy into this, because they know the public sentiment is against illegal migration. People want it controlled. So what they're bargaining on and gambling on is there's such a fury about illegal migration that this might finally be the thing that allows us to get this over the line. They've tried to get this over the line now for goodness knows how many decades. They've failed all the time. And actually, I don't bank on Keir Starmer actually being able to implement this pre-2029, so I don't imagine it's actually going to be implemented anyway, if my understanding of their ability to do this is correct. Everything that you just mentioned, Joe, you say, oh yeah, we go to supermarkets, we park. Okay. There's a really key point to that, and that is called consent. You choose. Yes. If you choose to go to a supermarket and have a loyalty card, you choose to give all that data away. If you choose to, I don't know, go on whatever and fill in whatever, that's a choice. A process that's planned for this weekend. There's many, many people that say that they don't consent to this. I think it is an absolute disgrace. How dare you? How dare you be so poor at your job when it comes to managing migration that we've already got to live with our communities and all the rest of it change beyond recognition because of this problem? How dare you, because of your own inability, now enforce even more consequence onto law-abiding British people? Absolute disgrace.
See if you fucking comply with this bullshit digital ID, then you fucking deserve everything that's coming, right? It's all been there for fucking years, been showing you these digital IDs when they come in, the next fucking steps. And it's not a fucking conspiracy, it's fucking true. Digital IDs, then the fucking bank accounts, they'll be able to, well, they already can snoop on your bank account, but then they'll all tie in together, and then before you know it, you've got a social credit score, and they will dictate to you what you can purchase and where you can fucking go, right? We need mass non-compliance. This fucking digital ID, where they're saying we're being forced, no one's forcing us to do fuck all right? We voted, well, I didn't vote, but you voted for them to work for you. They work for us, the fucking public, not the other way around, all right? So this, or we're bringing these digital ID cards, you know, to smash the fucking immigration. Bollocks. Fucking bollocks, all right? They've used this as the fucking Trojan horse. And more things are going to start happening, and it's going to be us that fucking suffer because they want more control, more power, and they want to just fucking control whatever the fuck you do. Do not comply with this. You see, if you do, you're a fucking minge.
So the Prime Minister says we must have digital ID. That's the way we'll stop illegal immigration. Well, think about it. Germany has ID cards, strict ID and checks. It's made no difference. at all in Germany, and nor will it here. All that digital ID will be is a means of controlling the population, of telling us what we can and can't do, of fining the innocent. And didn't we see it all when we had the pandemic, when you had to have vaccine ID to travel, to do various things? Did that stop the COVID pandemic spreading? Did it hell? All it did was put cost and inconvenience on everybody else. I also worry about massive data banks being held by the government, being hacked by foreign governments, by private companies, by criminals. I do not see a single benefit to the government having digital ID other than them controlling what we do, what we spend, and where we go. And we, in Reform, are wholly opposed to it in every single way.
So Britain has released digital ID for adults. The reason they're giving the public is that they want to crack down on illegal immigration and irregular working, whatever that means.
Tomorrow, the Prime Minister will set out plans for a compulsory nationwide digital ID scheme.
I think that they offer two benefits. The first is that they'll be able to make sure that people are able to prove their right to be here, to work here legally very easily, which will then help us to deal with the illegal economy.
They want to make it harder for people without the digital ID to get jobs, rent, housing. When you go to get a job or a house, you would have a digital ID that would be checked against a central database. This is part of a larger plan called the One Login for Government project. There will be a wallet app which is already planned, and it holds all your government issued documents like your passport, your driver's license and so on. It'll all be held in digital form and secured using facial recognition. They've stated that physical documents will still exist initially. The digital ID would offer an alternative up until the physical form is no longer needed. A little bit like the move away from physical cash. It just won't exist really. Still be there, just no one will use it.
Brother police state becomes stronger today as a glorious leader Keir Starmer declares that we need to have digital IDs in order to prove our right to work. My question here is, right, all legitimate employers, they ask for your passport, they ask for your visa code. That is basically proof of your right to work, right? So companies who are legit anyways and hiring workers in the proper way are already doing this. Why is the need for a digital ID? Now then people will throw around, well, if you have nothing to hide, then you shouldn't have any harm in having a digital ID. But what you don't realize is that data is valuable these days, right? What are they going to collect with this digital ID? Because at one point it'll be, well, if you need a phone contract or buy a phone SIM, you need to show your digital ID. Well, if you want to do this, you need your digital ID. So they start building up a bigger and bigger picture of you. And then who's going to have access to your data? The UK government loves Palantir, as we know, Israeli-backed company who's been involved in helping with the genocide. They're going to have access to your data. Mossad are going to have access to your data. So these are all important questions. I'm against a digital ID. I have enough forms of ID to prove who I am. Why the hell do I need another one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
It completely went over my head why Starmer was meeting with Gates and BlackRock and all those other guys. They want your information. Digital IDs are the way forward for it, baby. Confusion reigns over digital IDs as Minister says they won't be compulsory now unless you want a job. Let's have a look. So Starmer is today facing major questions over how his mandatory digital ID scheme will actually work after flailing ministers denied it was compulsory. Even though he come out and said it was. The Prime Minister officially unveiled the dystopian scheme in London today, declaring it was an enormous opportunity to crack down on small boat crossings by making it harder to work in the UK illegally. Except it makes no difference whatsoever. The fact is, the people that are here legally, they will have their little Deliveroo account and they will rent it out to people who are here illegally and won't have to show any identification whatsoever. They will also be able to fake the identification anyway. So there's no difference. There is no difference to what this will do. Nothing whatsoever. You've got your you've got your fucking thingy. What is it? National insurance number. You've got your national insurance. You've got your passport. You've got your driver's license. You've got everything. Everything to already identify you. They want it so that everything about you is online. Oh no, a few data hacks here and there. Oh dear. Let's see what else it says. The huge political gamble has already descended into chaos amid confusion over whether the digital IDs will be mandatory and how it would discriminate against millions of vulnerable citizens who haven't got smartphones. Yeah, in an official announcement to the media, which left many questions unanswered, the government said digital ID will be mandatory for right-to-work checks by the end of the Parliament. Well, yeah, good luck, because people are not going to be putting up with this. People are not going to be put. Remember, someone was saying about the whole tax hike in the 80s, and people took to the streets. Yeah. The Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, later insisted that although UK citizens will have a digital ID, it will not be mandatory for people to use it. It will be entirely their choice, she added. Oh, so you're forcing it on? Mate, fuck you, I'm not taking shit from you. We're all right. She then clarified that the digital ID will be the compulsory if you want to work in this country. You know, it probably won't be, as I pointed out exact example as to why it won't be compulsory, because these people will come over and they will rent out these accounts. See what else it says. Under the government scheme, anyone who wants to work in the UK would need to show their Brit card on a smartphone app, but it is not clear what those without the right technology, such as old age pensioners, would do. Speaking to the Global, and I was watching it, and she mentioned something like the NHS app, as if that's been brilliant, as if that's great. Anytime you try and use that app, it doesn't fucking work. So yeah, it's complete and utter bullshit. Do not fall for their lies. It doesn't matter what race, what religion, anything. This is going to be dystopian. It's going to be used against all of us. We all need to unite under not allowing this to happen. But I can't say a lot of what should happen. Can't get the Lucy Connolly treatment today, thanks.
So if you live in the UK, soon it may be mandatory for you to have a digital ID. You're not getting out of this one. Now, this could be coming as soon as 2028, with Keir Starmer and Labour MPs having backing this proposal for a universal digital identity card for every citizen within the UK for years. They've been pushing this now for literally years. A push for a mandatory digital credential or a Brit card would be required for all UK residents, implemented via a smartphone app in 2028. Now, if you're unaware why this is alarming, that's fine, that's why I'm here. First of all, nobody asked for this. Nobody asked for this. With a variety of things going wrong within broken Britain, any form of heightened digital surveillance is not going to make anything better. It's not going to be some sort of miraculous fix. Secondly, besides the fact that many critics are already warning that digital IDs pose a dangerous risk for the UK literally turning into a Big Brother episode with on-the-clock digital surveillance, both digitally and online because of the Online Safety Act. But not to mention the very obvious issue that even a 4-year-old would be able to crack, is the fact that a digital ID wallet becomes a single high-value target for any hacker. One breach could expose the identities of millions of Britons across the country. We've already seen it with M&S. We've already seen it with Co-op. So why are we doing this to ourselves, Britain? We already have Apple removing certain data protections from all iCloud and Apple users within the UK, purely because of the Online Safety Act and other regulations that have come from that. So I ask again, why are we doing this to ourselves? Nobody, and I mean that from the bottom of my chest, asked for this, and we will sooner vote you out in the next election before we allow this stupidity to take place any further.
Now, before everyone starts commenting this is literally 1984, let's talk context. Digital ID systems already exist. Estonia, for example, has one of the most successful and secure digital ID systems in the world. It lets their citizens access healthcare, vote, file taxes, all digitally, securely, and with full transparency. So no, this isn't inherently dystopian, it's not a brain chip, it's not a social credit score, it's not a real-time facial recognition dragnet. At least not yet. But here's where my eyebrow started twitching. This digital ID rollout is happening just months after the Online Safety Act came into force, a law that now requires us, everybody, to verify their identity to access online content, including, apparently, sobriety apps. So forgive me for being a little bit cautious when the government says, hey, we're going to be rolling out mandatory digital identification for everyone, but it's fine, it's totally different. Which, yeah, sure. Until it isn't. The concern isn't necessarily the ID itself, it's how it could be used in combination with everything else. You've got the OSA, which requires ID for harmful online content, e-visas, which are mandatory for non-citizens, the Gov.UK app and digital wallet that have ID documents on your phone, and now digital ID for citizens. You stack all of that together and then suddenly every aspect of your life can be monitored or denied based on ID-linked access. That's where the slippery slope is. That's the part that people should be debating. Not should we have a modern digital way to prove who we are, but rather what protections are in place to stop this becoming a tool for control. So no, digital ID doesn't scare me. What scares me is how quickly we're normalising digital dependency without building any real oversight into the systems behind it. Starmer says it'll stop illegal migration. Okay, but what stops a future government from requiring that same ID for buying a train ticket or accessing protest information? If it's coming, we better shape the conversation now, because once that infrastructure has been built, it's very easy to change how it's used, and that's when things get dangerous. So keep your eyes open, support tech that empowers, and scrutinise tech that controls, because the line between those two is thinner than ever.
For anyone who hasn't looked into digital ID, you need to. You must. Please, please believe me. There is no greater threat to us and this country right now. Forget immigration. That is a drop in. They're using immigration, illegal immigration, to justify digital ID. Please, please, please look into digital ID. I am genuinely, genuinely scared. Genuinely scared. If this happens, if this goes through, we are fucked. We're fucked. There is no coming back. We must fight this, and listen to me, we must fight this by any means necessary. This cannot come into force. This cannot come into force. Of course, I have to say peacefully. I have to say peacefully, because to speak out about this and say that we want to fight it means that I could go to jail. We have to fight this. We have to.
Digital ID is coming to the UK and it's worse than you think. According to Labour, Together's brick card proposal, every legal resident in the UK would be required to have a mandatory digital ID, no opt-out. It wouldn't just be for proving who you are, you need it to work, rent a flat, claim benefits, open a bank account, or even access certain public services. If you don't want a mandatory digital ID controlling your life, there's a petition to stop it. I pinned it in the comments. Sign it and send this video to as many people as possible so they can sign it. They say it will start with a test and learn rollout by 2028, but once it's in place, every interaction you have with the state and many with private companies will run through it. Critics say this could turn into a permission-based society. If the system is down or you don't meet certain criteria, you might be blocked from everyday life. And unlike showing a passport, this would be live and connected, tracking where and when you use it. And here's the real danger. All that data could be linked. If you're behind on your tax, they could stop you opening a bank account or renting a home. If you're claiming benefits, it could flag on a job application. Miss a bill, that could show up too. This is how you create a social credit system. And once it's in, it's almost impossible to roll back. Now you know.
Digital ID? Nah, I'm not having it. There's no that it can achieve that you couldn't do already with proper resources and reinforcement. I mean, do you remember when CCTV were going to be end of all crime? Whereas now we walk around constantly on candid camera and shoplifting is worse than it's ever been. Another thing, it targets the poorest people in society, people on benefits, and them are just like having to hustle odd jobs to make a living. And it makes you think they're to blame for your problems, and not the people in boardrooms who are really ripping you off and stealing from you every day of the week. So, at best, it's a vote-winning PR stunt. At worst, it's another step on the road to totalitarianism. Resist.